Hey you guys, it's Steez. Welcome to the third installment of my five-part conspiracy theory series. If you've watched the first part for the first two parts, thank you so much for doing so, and thank you so much for being here. If you're wondering why I have the flashlight on and why I'm making this in the bathroom, it's just the darkest room in my house, and or why yeah, basically why I'm wearing makeup or whatever, and why I have the flashlight on me in the dark is because I right before this I made a makeup tutorial video, like shout out to Jeffree Star video, and yeah, so that's why, and plus like I think the makeup looks really cool, and also I just think like whenever you're telling like any kind of like paranormal encounter story or any kind of true story regarding your own life, anything of that nature, I think it's kind of cool to at least put somewhat of a creatively dark and somewhat twisted and scary and spooky spin on it. Excuse me, spin on it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I hope you guys are okay with this look. If you're not a fan of my makeup tutorial videos, but even if you're not, I hope you still take the time to watch this video. Regardless of your intent of being here, I love you for being here, and I wouldn't be making videos if it wasn't for you, each and every one of you, and I mean that, I do. But okay, for the third installment of my five-part docu-series slash just telling my own side of what happened in my conspiracy theories slash the conspiracy theory of my series, conspiracy theories within the series. We'll go with that. Why not? Okay, yeah. It's the year of authenticity, right? Isn't that what I've been saying? I think so. So we'll go with that. But no. So point three in the series is sleep paralysis, which is the absolute if you've experienced this, you know what I'm talking about. You know, like, I'm not being hyperbolic whatsoever. You know that I'm not exaggerating by any means, and you know that once sleep paralysis happens, and once that feeling comes over you, you know what it is, and you know you can't come out of it until that entity in your room, or the dark shadowy figure that could be 10, 12 feet tall, you can't really tell at the time because you're so shocked because you can't move a muscle in your body, and the overwhelming fear, the fear that your heart's going to beat out of your chest and that you're going to have a heart attack regardless of your age at the time of the event. Because for me personally, it went on from the fact that from the time that I was 8 years old to the time I was 18 years old, and that's why in the previous video about the old hag phenomenon, I didn't mention it because I wanted to elaborate more in this video, and and let you guys know, like, like this had happened, this coincided with my experiencing the old hag phenomenon. I was experiencing sleep paralysis as well as old hag phenomenon, because the old hag phenomenon in the previous video, I was 12 years old, and so do the math. Like for 6 years, those two coincided: sleep paralysis and old hag phenomenon. But no, I'm starting to ramble now. But no, oh, I guess I'll take it from the top and start from the beginning and tell you guys the first time that it happened to me. Uh, I was 8 years old. I still had a race car bed. That's how young I was. It's cathartic and weird to discuss it, and somewhat therapeutic. Seeing as I was actually 8 years old and I had a race car bed, and I was that innocent in something so dark and something so twisted, and something that led to so many other forms of depression and cutting and things of that nature. It's which I've discussed in previous videos, and I have no shame in. I was a cutter, and I cut myself for years, and it wasn't for years after this, but that's beside the point. I was, and I like to expose myself per se before others can do so. I like to just tell the truth and be honest and be myself, so nobody can do it for me. Um, but no, so I'm lying in my race car bed, and I wake up suddenly. I suddenly wake up, like my eyes are closed like this, and then all of a sudden my eyes open like this, just like that. I mean, and that's pretty much all you can do during sleep paralysis. It's not like you could. Me personally, I'm just. This is my conspiracy, my theory, my take on it. Allegedly, of course, like all my videos are. But I couldn't. I sure as hell couldn't move it, do anything but do this. I couldn't even like completely like do like circle my eyes like that, roll my eyes or look around like that. Couldn't move an inch of my body, and like I just felt like I was going to die. I felt like I was going to collapse from within, or explode from. It's hard to even explain the feeling unless you've been there. And if you've been there, please comment down below. Let me know. I've never actually discussed sleep paralysis with anyone that's actually experienced it themselves. Not any, at least not in depth. Maybe on a message board back in the day whenever I was a small teenager. Like on AIM or AOL Instant Messenger. That's how I'm not that young, people. Okay. But no. It so yeah. The moment of terror that if you've experienced this, the moment of terror struck. The moment of realization that I couldn't move. I physically couldn't move my body. The realization that I was going to die. The realization that I couldn't scream for help as much as I tried to, and believe me, I tried to. Um, and it didn't matter how many times it happened and for how many years it happened. It didn't matter that it happened it happened to me for 10 years. That's beside the point. Each time you try, if you've experienced this, you know what I mean. You try as hard as you can to scream at the top of your lungs and scream for help, and no one can hear you, and no one can help you, and no one will listen, and no one's coming to your rescue. No one's going to save you. You're by yourself. You're on your own with this one, Mister. I mean, that's how it is, and it's unfortunate, but that's exactly how it is, and that's exactly how it feels, and that's exactly how it felt every single time. You know, uh, but back to the first experience. It lasted for what felt like 3 days, but it was most likely 30 minutes, and what happens in sleep paralysis, in my whatever happens to me, what happens in my version of sleep paralysis is the dark, scary. If you've ever heard or seen or read anything about Slender Man, and you know what he slash that entity, that made up internet figure that kids made up to kill one another, or play a game with one another, however you want to put it. Whatever you imagine him to look like, this is how I imagine the creature, entity, whatever that's in the corner of my room, that was in the corner of my room every time that I experienced sleep paralysis, from the time I was 8 from the time I was 8 until the time I was 18. And so just ever so slowly that creature creeps toward your bed. I mean ever so slowly, I mean just like steps that are just like, it's like barely, it's like slow motion, but slow motion, slowed down times like 1,000. And because in times, and you have no concept of time, because the terror and the adrenaline and the feeling of helplessness, and the feeling of loneliness, and the feeling of knowing you're going to die, and well, at least the first time, once you get somewhat of a knowledge of it, it's not like that necessarily every single time. It's still just as scary, but you don't think you're gonna, you don't think you're going to die every time. You're just terrified and think the thing has evil intentions, is the moral of the story. But yeah, so excuse me, the first time I was 8 years old or whatever, he crept towards me ever so slowly, and then the second he gets to the side of your bed, every single time, he just dissipates and disappears and disintegrates and vanishes and disappears. Like I said, but like, we'll skip ahead. Obviously, I woke my mom up and screamed. Both my parents, they were still together. My parents were still together at the time, so I woke them both up screaming, obviously, because I was an 8-year-old boy. I was horrified. I was petrified. I thought it was a real monster. I thought that he was really going to kill me and my whole family, and I thought that I had to save them. So that was the point I was trying to get across to them. I was like, Mom and Dad, please come. Like, Mommy, Daddy, please help me, save us. Let's get Mason and Madison, my little brother and sister. Let's save them. Please help. Come on, let's go. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I think I have a cold right now. Actually, I'm catching a cold. It's the crazy temperature change. I know, it's weird, but no. So they're like, they calm me down. They tell me it's just a nightmare. I believe them. I fall asleep watching Barney, and we had some Barney tapes on VHS. I fell asleep watching those, and and I believe them, and it calmed me down, and it didn't happen for I would say anywhere from 6 to 8 months. It didn't happen, and the second time it happened, once again, I didn't have an answer for it. I didn't know what it was. It was a nightmare, and it was pretty much the exact same story over again. I told my parents, and they convinced me it was just another nightmare. And so we'll skip ahead to when I was about 13 or 14. We'll say 14, because I know whenever I was 14, we had the internet, and we had Wi-Fi. We had high-speed internet for the first time. And so like, you know, I woke them up in a similar fashion at the age of 14. You know, so I've been dealing with this for you know, 6 years now at this point. And you know, and so with what, you know, I was the one that Googled it. Like, I took it upon myself. Like, I woke them up or whatever, and they once again they discounted it and said it was a nightmare. And I've been dealing with it for so long, and I was so frustrated. And I was like, I'm not just a kid. I'm not stupid. I'm not making this up. This isn't something that I would do. Like, why would I do that? Like, I'm not stupid. I don't make things up. Like, I'm a good little boy. I'm a good kid. Like, I'm a good teenager. Like, I'm not a bad person. I would never lie to you guys. So I Googled it, you know, or whatever, and I finally read about it, and I see this. I see sleep paralysis, and I watch these YouTube videos, and I watch these videos. I watch like I read some Reddit threads, and I see some Tumblr posts, and I see some testimonials from people from across the world, and all of their testimonials are eerily similar to mine. And it was something that was very comforting to me. And you know, and after I learned what it was finally, you know, the more I realized that it's just a phenomenon, and regardless of the terror of how terrifying it is every single time, it's just something that I was going to have to deal with, you know. And I guess we'll skip ahead to like the time we'll skip ahead to me being you know, the last time it happened whenever I was 18, because I remember that vividly. Like I it was the night before my best friend Shelby's birthday party. So uh, it was uh it was April 22nd, 2019. And you know, 2019, 2009. I'm so sorry. Brain freeze. Okay, 2009. Yeah. So that's the last time it happened. I just remember that because that's how vivid a memory I have of this experience. You know, she spent the night at my house, and it was the first time that I think it was the first time that this event, or this paranormal encounter, whatever you want to call it, happened to me. And it just so happens, and kind of makes you kind of like scratch your head a little bit and say like, I wonder why like it happened, like whenever like it was the first time like I had like somebody sleeping over, or somebody like else in the bed. Like it was the last time. Like, I wonder if that has something to do with that. You guys know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah. So Shelby spent the night, and like it still happened, and as opposed to like just screaming for my mother and my father, who I still lived with at the time, or whenever I was 18. Like, I was just like trying to scream for Shelby, and like try to shake Shelby, and or whatever, and just wake her up. And you know, and I just remember like you know, the whole thing happened, the same exact experience I've described from the time I was 8 years old. And this is the final experience, you know. And just so happened my best friend Shelby was in bed with me at the time, and I woke her up, and I finally, whenever I came to, and kind of and finally came out of it, you know, I grabbed Shelby and shook her, and I was like, I told her what happened, and she was, I mean, of course she was familiar with it. She just had never slept over whenever it had occurred before. She slept over all the time. Just for some reason, it just so happened like I was always by myself, and like feeling really depressed and vulnerable and lonely whenever it happened. And I just find it odd that the last time that it happened to me personally, that my best friend was there. Maybe like and maybe that scared this entity, like weird phenomenon, thing, person, creature, entity. I don't know what it is. Off. I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe there's some validity to that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Please comment down below. Let me know. Like, if you've had experiences like this. If you suffer from sleep paralysis, if it's come, and if it's gone. You know, whenever I woke Shelby up, we talked about it and everything, and she talked me through it and calmed me down immediately. And we smoked a joint and just like kind of like laughed it off, and chalked it up to the fact that, like, you know, it's something that just happens to me, like I've been doing for so long. But yeah, please let me know. You know, this is the third installment of my 5-part series. Part Part 4 will be posted tomorrow, around the same time, at least within 12 hours of this one. If you guys are liking this kind of thing, and the paranormal and conspiracy, my conspiracy theory series, please let me know. Your feedback and your constructive criticism means the world to me. that's you know, you guys are the whole reason that I'm here, and you guys are the whole reason that I take the time to make these outlines and make these points and really get, you know, like take my time to do so. And like, I mean, it's not just like I'm doing this for fun, and it's not just about like about views and clout chasing and getting popular and or what. It's not like that. It's about being myself, being a makeup artist, and like showing that I'm good at it, and but also showing that like I'm interested in the paranormal, and the Mandela effect affects my life, and like I'm a multitude of creativity, and like I'm a plethora of talents, and I have so much to offer the world. And I know that I said that, like I promised like I was gonna make each video 20 to 30 minutes, but like the more I grow and the wiser I get as a YouTuber, the more I realize like it's not about like how long the video is, and that's what that was my mistake to make that announcement, and I apologize and I retract that statement because like I got my point across in 15 and a half minutes, and that's okay. But once again, I'm Steez, and what does Cheeseburger love? He loves his cheeseburgers. Bye, you guys.